like, let's talk distortion for a second.
Mm-hmm.
When you play chords right now, do you have distortion in mind as you're playing the chords? What sort of vibes well in the distortion?
Yeah, I mean,
sevens?
like there's, I'll preface all this by because I don't know guitar, there's probably inaccuracies in how it's, but I'm trying to keep in mind the, like, if I play a church chord, you're not going to hear any note, you know? So there's like a certain, like, I want to keep the voicing, and then if there is a dissonance, like, it'll be like one instant. One note or like one instance of it, just so it's not as like intense.
I get it. So your looks for general harmony, and if you want to twist it, maximum like probably one dissonance. Otherwise, it just gets too cluttered.
Yeah, I mean that's just how my ear catches it.
That makes sense.
I mean it's distorted, so you want some level of dissonance. But like I think like normally like my F minor is, but you don't even hear like one note of that. So it's like how would I? Like, if I spread it out and then I put the 2 and the flat 3 in the middle, then it's like, okay, I can tell what chord that is rather than... Some of that too comes from just maybe instinct of like I've listened to a lot of guitar music,
Yeah.
Half step.
...1994, Gibson Les Paul Studio. This guitar means a lot to me. This was my first real Gibson Les Paul. I had a friend give me a copy, a Lawsuit Era copy, before that had really high action, didn't sound very good. It was just really impossible to play, unless you're playing slide, and even then it didn't sound great. But so this was my first real, legitimate Gibson Les Paul, and I saved up a long time to get it. It was Gibson's centennial year, so there was a big promotion at the time. When I went, I wasn't even really looking at the wine red or the gold hardware. I've never been quite a fan of gold hardware, but I picked this one up and played it and tried a few others and kept going back to this one, and for some reason it just kind of grabbed me. And all these years later, it's been, one of my main guitars. It's just been a workhorse. It has seen a lot of gigs and a lot of sessions. It's not my nicest Les Paul, but it's probably logged the most hours. So, tons of iconic players have played Les Pauls, more than I really want to name at the moment. I think Les Paul's guitars are just kind of the quintessential rock guitar. Most recording studios will have a Les Paul and a Strat in their collection, maybe a Tele ES and an SG, but really Les Paul and Strat, that's what's up there. So, rather than give you a history of Gibson or even Les Paul guitars, because we don't have that kind of time, I'm just going to kind of talk about the man himself. So Les Paul, was really an innovator. He's the guy who gave us multi-track recording. That was him. He was a builder. He helped design this instrument. He was a phenomenal player. A really great performer. Experimented with effects.
It's an invention of mine, this little black box. It's called the Les Pulverizer.
Just a really well-rounded musician. That kind of guy, you'd want to jam with. He just was that cool. He was just really ahead of his time. So, big ups, big props to Les Paul. All right, Les Pauls, they've seen a lot of different iterations through the years. You have the first gold tops with the Soap Bar P90s to, then the PAFs, and then the bursts in the, 58 to 60. Then the Les Paul actually changed in 61 to an SG body, and Les Paul himself didn't really care for the body style, so they took his name off of it. That's when it became the SG. And, then you've got the Deluxe in the 70s with, mini humbuckers and so on. Now, I couldn't even name them all, but you've got, your standard, your traditional, your classic, your artist models, your custom, you've got pluses, pros, vintage original specs, studio, and so forth. This is a studio, and basically it's a Les Paul at its core, but it doesn't have all of the aesthetic bling. But you got all the power, all the playability, all that Les Paul sound in a guitar that's kind of meant to be heard and not seen in a way, so hence the studio, to be used in the studio. So it's a working man's guitar. Typical Les Paul pickup configuration, so you've got a 490R in the neck position and a 490T in the bridge. For this library, I sampled the 498. So, the 498T, the bridge pickup, gets mixed reviews. There's some people that love it, and then there's a lot of haters. I like it. I think it's a really unique sounding pickup for Les Paul. I think, the ceramic magnet that's in it and the extra turns to make it a hot pickup and the winding just give you a lot of tonal options. So you can get that kind of classic 70s sound. I kind of think, Mick Ronson, Bowie kind of sound. heavy or modern. But it does great with jazz. Great with blues. Just very versatile. And it's got this really heavy mid-range sound that just kind of cuts to the mix. It also does really well with effects. So, and I don't just mean, effects, on your signal chain before your amp. I'm talking about post-production effects. You can reamp it, or you can put it through modeling sims or various plugins, and it eats it up. Anyway, I hope you like it, and let's let Les and Mary Fool.
I like that. Keyboard. Like, I would never play this voicing on keyboard. But on guitar, it's like... Yeah, like, there's just certain shit that works because it's such a wide frequency range. Yeah.
I still think in another lifetime you would have been a great guitar player.
100, yeah. I mean, if I could start over, I would just switch. I'd be like, oh, I can still learn all the synth stuff. I just don't have to, like... I can get all my aggression out, too.
I'll keep that in mind for our next projects.